Hi, and welcome to Introduction to Astronomy. My name is Eric Jones, and I'll be teaching you the course. Um, this is a navigational video for the class, and what I have here is a course from this semester just to use as a template to show us how to get around. Um, on the main page, which is what this is, you'll see an announcement section right here. There are no announcements as of yet for the semester since the semester hasn't started. Um, Roughly mid-page, you have what will be the navigation video that I'm making right now, right here. And you have my name, my title, my office. I have two offices this particular semester, one in Flagler and one in DeLand. My office hours and their locations. Phone number and email, so just basic contact information. Below there, we have a calendar with discussion and assignment dates due on it. And then to the right, we have just a basic profile on me. I've been here at DSC since 2004, and I'm a solar astrophysicist by trade. Now, let's take a look at the toolbar here. Now, some of these you may not see because I have different rights than you do. I'm an administrator for the class. But the main things that I want to focus on are the content tab, the discussion tab right here, the quizzes, and also the grades. So the most important one out of all these here at the beginning is the content. So let's take a look at that. So when you're dumped out here, generally you see the overview. The overview is just sort of a rough, gentle introduction to the class. And then we're going to take a look here at the table of contents with the start here. You click on this, and as you can see, the class is broken up into three parts. The first part basically consists of all the stuff that you need to get started. Here you'll find the syllabus. Inside the syllabus, you have grading rubrics and stuff like that. I highly advise that you take a look at this. This is kind of important. You see how I grade. You see some of the requirements from you as a student. Those all sit in this in this particular document right here. Here we have a link to your free textbook. There is no pay-for textbook in this class. It's all free. I use OpenStax. If you were to click on this, it would take you directly to your textbook. This is the HTML version where you to go back here in the actual OpenStax thing. You can also download a PDF if you have a tablet or something like that that you like to read on. You can use that. You can also order a print copy too. I would not because there's really no place that you can sell it back. So let's go back here. The last thing you have here are discussions. There's a discussion component to this course. You are to do 5 discussions over the course of the semester and make some replies to people's stuff. And what you see here is a breakdown as to what your discussions are, what's expected from you. You'll want to do citations, things like that. Here's a grading rubric. You know what things pass, what things fail rather, because the discussions are pass or fail. Here's some sources that you can take a look at when you're doing your assignments for your discussion. And here's an example of a good post and also a good reply. Good replies lead the conversation forward. For example, a bad reply would be something like "Cool story, bro." We're not going to do that. You don't get credit for things like that. Now let's go back here. So that covers the first part of the class. In the second part, you have tutorial videos. Now there is a small math component to the class. I have a video on how to use a scientific calculator. You can use a cell phone calculator if you need to. There are plenty of scientific calculator for cell phone apps that you can download or for tablets. Even using the calculator in computer should be enough. Basic tutorial on how to do square roots and exponents, which is about the extent of the real math that you see in here. And also, in the event that you come across scientific notation in your book, also how to do scientific notation so you understand what that's all about. Now, the content itself sits right here. It's the last part and arguably the most important part. So, as you may have seen when you look at the syllabus, we have these things that are called student learning outcomes that tell us about kind of our expectations of you, by the time you get to the end of the class. By the time you get to the end of the class, you should be able to name important historical figures in astronomy and list some of the impacts that they have, on the field. You develop a vocabulary, etc., and so on. So the entirety of this course is designed to address these things. And if I were to, for example, go to the very first part where you should start in the class, which is science in the universe, you'll see these things called module learning outcomes. These are the things within this module right here that we are aiming to learn that help us fulfill the student learning outcomes for the overall class. So, for example, in our very first chapter here, you'll learn what scientific laws are. You'll figure out what it means with respect to observation when something is light years away. You'll be able to understand order of magnitude and sizes, and also understand a bit the elemental composition of the universe, all the way through iron. As you can see, these things are linked to the SLOs. So you'd start here. I'll just click on the first one as an example so you can see how it works. Here's a brief blurb as to what the importance of this particular chapter is. There are some videos. Now, these videos are nowhere near all-encompassing. They do not talk about all the content in the chapter. They're just sort of summaries. So, you can watch the videos, and I encourage you to. But really, the most important thing is the first chapter. I have a PowerPoint, so you can look at summaries. A lot of people like PowerPoint so they can print them out, and that's really all the PowerPoint is, sort of a summary of the class. So they like to print them out and make notes on them. I encourage you to do that if that's your thing. But really what you're going to want to do is to get into the first chapter, which, if you go back to your book here again, would be this right here. So here's your first chapter with your outline. And basically read through. You want to take notes all the way from 1.1 down to your conclusion here at the very end, right there. Okay. This is very well organized. It's actually incredibly well written too. Now, so from an assessment standpoint, when you're done going through the content, and let's pretend that you've gone through chapter 1, you got a pretty good understanding of that. The next thing is to move on to our next module, which would be here under Foundations. This is where we start to build a foundational vocabulary and understand some of the history of what's going on. You have more outcomes. This consists of 3 chapters. So you go through these 3 chapters, 4 in total. And once you feel comfortable with that, you're going to want to take your first subject area quiz. So this quiz right here is designed to test your understanding of the Science in the Universe module and also the foundation stuff. So once you get through that, you take your quiz. The quiz is timed. The quizzes here run generally 90 minutes in length. If you exit the quiz, the timer still runs. Now, this quiz is only 25 questions long. There are 9 quizzes throughout the entire course. That's what you're assessed on at the end of the day, plus the discussion stuff. And each quiz is between 20 to 25 questions. So you have plenty of time, assuming you've made notes, to go through and answer these things. Now, you keep doing it, and eventually we get to the very end, which is cosmology, which is, where a lot of the cool stuff lies as well. And then you have your very last quiz, and that's the end of the tested part, or at least the time test part. Now, the next thing on the list here of importance is discussions. So this is the discussion area. I have a place called BYOB, which you can post in. There's nothing serious that's really allowed here. It's just a place to have fun. Then we have a discussion on content. If you have questions about the content itself, you can post here. If you want to look for a study group, you can post here and hook up with some friends or some colleagues here, and hopefully form a study group. That's not required, but you can if you want. Um, I have a place here under general course discussion where you can complain about me. Um, your mileage may vary there. I'll address it in general. If you have general course questions, that's something that's not in the content. Maybe you have a question about the field itself. Maybe you have a question about something just not covered. I can answer it here. If you find a mistake, I encourage you to post it here so I can take a look and correct it. If you have some suggestions about course design and feedback, post it here. Now, right here are your discussions. So if you were, for example, to click on the first discussion here, here what you want to do is you want to post an icebreaker, your name while you're taking the course, a little bit about yourself. You're going to want to reply also to somebody that's posted the icebreaker, and that's how you get your full credit. All right. So over the course of the semester, you have 5 discussions that you have to post. The first one's just an introduction. The second one is to pick a historical figure um, and post about them. The next one is to post about telescopes. Take a look, at a modern or classical one, and kind of check it out. You want to include your citations for it. Number 4, you're going to post about something dealing with stars, black holes, or what have you. And at the end, you want to post about cosmology. All right. Now, that said, if you were to go to the quiz section, you can directly access any of the subject area tests that you have. There's one on terminology, which I showed you guys at the very beginning. There's one on just light and telescopes, which are the tools that we use to actually do astronomy. There's one on the solar system, one on the sun. Uh, there's one on astrometry, which is measurement of stars and stellar classification. There are 2 on the stars in general. That is the birth of stars and the death of stars. You have one on galaxies, including the Milky Way, and then your last one is on cosmology. Now, there's your navigational video. I encourage you to use my office hours, take a look at your syllabus, etc., and so on, and I will see you in the course.